Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back with culturedsociety.com. That's right, culturedsociety.com. Our founder and curator and life coach is here. It's Rebecca Muñoz, and we're excited to talk to her today more about her company, the work she does, all holistic transformation, healing, and of course, her overall mission, which is to help empower people. For today, I know we're going to be discussing the strong relationship and helping to cultivate that with oneself. So, Rebecca, welcome back to the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm so grateful to have another opportunity to exchange beautiful words with you today. So, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Wow. She's so grateful, so positive. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you. So, for those new timers today, may not know anything about a cultured society and who you are and what you do. So, would you mind just giving us a little overview on that? And then we'll start with today's topics.
Yes, absolutely. So, first and foremost, I just want to thank the audience, the person who is going to be tuning into this conversation today, because these conversations are so crucial, especially in the time that we're living in today. And so, if you have an opportunity to visit the platform, aculturedsociety.com, you're going to find a variety of information that is going to inspire you to explore your creative mind, as well as to look at things from a different perspective so you can find unity and a higher perspective and consciousness within yourself so that you can go out into the world and view the world from a very different vantage point. So, I want to start off this conversation with setting an intention today, because if you have an opportunity to work with me one-on-one, that is what we always start off our conversations with setting your intention.
Yeah.
And my intention for this call today is to approach each moment with a positive mindset, gratitude, and an eagerness to grow. Because through this human experience, if you are embracing this human experience as an experience, you are here to grow, to evolve, and to transform into the best version of you. And so that is the conversation that you are going to evoke in the platform of A Cultured Society.
Good. Well, thank you for sharing that. And just to confirm the website and how we can contact you.
Absolutely. It's www.aculturedsociety.com. And there you will go through a variety of pages, but where you can reach me and connect with me is through the coaching section. And if you are interested in working with me one-on-one, you can apply through that section there on aculturedsociety.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Let's talk today. I know going over your notes, we're going to talk a little bit about, why developing a strong relationship with oneself is so important for personal well-being and, of course, fulfillment.
Yes, absolutely. Well, so a quote that comes to mind, first and foremost, is from the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates, famously declared that the unexamined life was not worth living. So it basically sums up the fact that knowing yourself
Hmm.
is the greatest way
Okay.
to gaining a lot more wisdom. And so I truly believe that developing a strong relationship with oneself is so important for our personal well-being and fulfillment, and also gratification and embracing a peace of mind, because it allows us to understand our own values, our needs, and our desires, as well as it helps to establish healthy boundaries within ourselves and the relationships that we develop throughout our lifetime. And it helps us also create confident decisions and cultivate self-compassion and empathy, which is so important during this time, because we are all going through a human experience that oftentimes brings in challenges and adversities that whenever we do develop a healthier relationship with ourselves, it gives us a better opportunity to maneuver through those experiences with more ease and grace.
Beautifully said. Thank you for that. All right. And how would you say having a strong relationship with oneself impacts our relationship with others, even overflowing into the workforce with our careers?
Absolutely. Well, if you're like myself, throughout my journey, have had an opportunity to experience a lot of transitions through not only my career, but also my personal life. And through all these transitions, and also allowing myself to develop a better relationship with who I am and what I'm doing on planet Earth, it has allowed me to improve my communication skills, to also develop a greater sense of empathy and
Okay.
authenticity. It enables us to form healthier connections, collaborate effectively, and pursue meaningful goals aligned with our values. Oftentimes, we are influenced by our surroundings, by our social constructs. And so, as we develop a better relationship with ourselves and knowing what our personal boundaries are, it does really allow us to communicate effectively and to also know that every single person that we are interacting with is basically they are operating from their own level of experience and their own level of understanding. So that really gives us an opportunity to not only understand that we are a part of a collective and we are all experiencing that energetic exchange, but it also allows us
Yeah.
to separate ourselves and so that we can um, understand others better and where they're coming from as well.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And what about maybe some tips if you want to share exercises that we can do to strengthen this relationship with ourselves or themselves, however you want to word it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a lot of the work that we do when we work together individually, and one of the reasons why I love to do one-on-one coaching is because this experience that we go through our human evolution, it is very individual, and we have a very specific individual purpose. And so if we understand who we are and where we're coming from individually, we have an opportunity to collaborate and exchange energy when we go out into the world and interact with others. So a lot of the practices that we incorporate in our time together is understanding the importance of meditation practices,
Mm-hmm.
journaling and
Yeah.
understand where your thoughts are in your current reality, as well as how your past experiences have influenced who you are today. And knowing that those practices that you develop each and every day consistently will allow you to create from a new place, a new slate, and also becoming very self aware of your current circumstances and how you can change them, pivot, and adapt as you are moving along through your human experience. So that allows us to set personal boundaries, engage in self-care activities,
Yep.
which again is journaling, practicing mindfulness and meditation practices. And we go through several activities that can incorporate those different methods that don't necessarily have to look a specific way. We can cater them to the experience that you're having, as well as the modalities that you are living in your current reality, because I work with people that are kind of spread out throughout the nation. I haven't not had an opportunity to work one-on-one with people globally yet, one-on-one, but I'm working with people on the West Coast, on the East
Mm-hmm.
Coast. So it's like everybody's kind of in their own particular experience. So we set those practices so
Uh-huh.
that they can be utilized for your individual life in itself.
And never say never, right?
Never say never.
You,
Exactly. Yeah, majority of the people that I work with, Jill, have never really incorporated, for instance, meditative practices. It's not something that they've looked at as a method of becoming more self-aware and really understanding a greater having a greater understanding of themselves. So we set goals and
mm-hmm.
we set guidelines for them to be able to incorporate this as a lifestyle so that they can uh, create sustainability throughout their life and remove a lot of the anxieties and the stressors that they have day to day, and to move through them with more ease and grace.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. All right. So, wow. Let's talk about some of the hurdles, right? Some common obstacles. I think that's next about,
Yeah,
yeah, how do we face this? How can we overcome these obstacles? Yeah, when we're facing and developing the strong relationship with themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're maneuvering through everyday experiences, when we're maneuvering through relationships, whether it's romantic relationships, career relationships,
Mm-hmm.
personal friendships, we're going to always have sometimes challenges when it comes to counteracting our own beliefs, right? We especially if you're a person like myself who goes out into the community and interacts with a variety
Yeah.
of characters and personalities, and sometimes there can be conflict, right? Especially when we are in a societal construct that sometimes has completely different beliefs and
Uh-huh.
values and morals than you, right? So we're going to come across self-doubt. We're going to come
Yep.
across some fears, some judgments. We're even going to evoke some past traumas and these societal pressures from just the conditioning that we've been born into can be an obstacle that we face on a day by day basis. So overcoming these obstacles involves, again, practicing self compassion, challenging these negative self talks, seeking either therapy, traditional therapy, community groups, coaching, like the service that I offer myself, and surrounding yourself with supportive individuals and engaging in personal growth activities. And so, a lot of
Okay.
these practices that we involved in our time together, if you are not a person that lives in the space that I live in, I help you find activities and personal development spaces within your own
Okay.
arena or your own environment that you can involve yourself in, because oftentimes you're not really allowing yourself to step outside of what you're comfortable with, and the growth happens in your uncomfortable spaces. You are able to maneuver through your obstacles and challenges that you're facing every single day when you allow yourself to step outside of your comfort zone and allow somebody that has maneuvered through a lot of these obstacles and challenges to guide you through it as well.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And also, let's just remind everyone how we can connect with you, Rebecca. Give us the website, phone number, all that, since we're about halfway through the show.
Yes, absolutely. So you can find my information at www.aculturedsociety.com. I would prefer that you reach out to me through there, and then we can engage through a 30-minute complimentary consultation to see if this is something that you would like to embark in. And I take you through a 12-week course that will allow you to overcome some of the
Hmm.
obstacles that you are facing on a day-to-day basis.
All right, thanks for that. And let's continue our conversation today. Again, if you are just tuning in here with the Cultured Society, Rebecca is talking about cultivating a strong relationship with oneself. So, just so you know, the basis of today, this is exciting. We're learning a lot, and you're emphasizing, again, the strong relationship with oneself is really the foundation for personal well being and fulfillment, and that empowers individuals to make choices aligned with their values. And we talked about setting boundaries, but overall leading to that more authentic, meaningful life, and how this can help our careers and can help just ourselves. And now some practical tips, of course. We're talking about that to help us strengthen this. And there are some obstacles, as we've discussed. Did you want to share any more about them, or do you want to talk more about the holistic life coaching services you provide?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there is definitely a lot that is involved in a personal healing and transformation journey. I'd like to talk a little bit about how my transformation started and what inspired this program to begin with.
Okay.
About 12 years ago, I embarked in a personal healing journey that allowed me to not only release 50 pounds of physical weight, but it also allowed me to address some of the emotional barriers that I had been pretty much working with my entire life. I was born into a construct where I had a lot of physical limitations that I didn't necessarily think that I had an opportunity to overcome. And
Ah,
so when I started to learn about holistic healing, which is a mind, body, and spiritual connection, and I started to address a lot of my own limiting beliefs, my own just self doubts, my own fears, my own even failures that I've had in the past, which I truly don't believe in failure. I believe that every experience that we have
Yeah.
is just an opportunity for us to be able to grow, to evaluate, to reevaluate, and to move forward in a way that is going to allow us to progress in a wiser manner. And so, through the experience that I had in my own journey, I realized that it wasn't necessarily about the physical weight that I was carrying, it was more so about the emotional weight that I had absorbed throughout the experiences that I had had throughout my life. And so when I started to address a lot of my emotional barriers, which were a lot of the traumas that I had experienced throughout my 39 years of life, I realized that it really did give me more of an opportunity to release a lot of the mental
Yeah.
and spiritual weight that I had carried, which then in return gave me an opportunity to release a lot of the physical weight. And so what I work with the clients that I mean, I work with a variety of people. I've worked with teachers, entrepreneurs, musicians, artists. I mean, a lot of people that are in the creative field, but it's interesting because when you are a creator, sometimes you are blocked by your own
Own.
limitations. And so it kind of takes somebody to mirror back to you
Wow.
areas of your life that you are not seeing the
Yeah.
blockages in. And so we create well, a 12-week series, which I really desire for people not to become dependent on someone else, because what we do here is we give you the practical tools that are have always been available to you that
Mhm.
maybe you didn't realize that were available to you to create a consistent practice for you to be able to move forward to release those limitations that have been blocking you from your creative expression, from your authentic self, from the purpose driven life that you were created to live, in order for you to live that fearlessly. And oftentimes, those fears that we live with, they're just it's almost like an imaginary story or a narrative that we have created from maybe one or two experiences that we've had that helped us create another story about that narrative. So we use a lot of visualization practices, and we use a lot of high vibrational spoken word methods,
Mm-hmm.
able to change that narrative for yourself to look at that experience that you've had as a way to pivot, to adapt, and to move into a new narrative, a new story that will give you a greater perspective or an expansive vision on what your life could look like moving forward.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you so much. And we still have more time. And do you want to talk about, a little, you want to give some more examples of the people you've helped or more about your journey? And then obviously we'll wrap it up in a few minutes about, how we can connect with you, but we still have 7 minutes in the show.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can reach me at www.aculturedsociety.com. I've also created platforms through Instagram, through Facebook, through YouTube, where you can find a variety of tools and methods that if we don't happen to work together within this next
Yep.
season, you have an opportunity to actually get a lot of free tools to use on a day-by-day basis through going through these platforms that will be very useful and also very inspirational for you. But to give an example of someone that I worked with just this week, a lot of the people that I've worked with are a lot wiser than me in age. In fact, one
Mm.
of the ladies that I had an opportunity to work with this week is in her mid 50s. And just in the short amount of time that we had a conversation about her situation, by the end of the call, she was like, I just want to give you a hug and thank you for the perspective shift that you have given me,
Wow.
because I've never thought about my experience in the way that you have explained it for me, and how I can use these practical tools to move past my own what you could call traumas or
Mm-hmm.
disadvantages, right? And so it really does sometimes requires you to open yourself up to having a new conversation, because majority of the conversations that we're
Oh,
having
yeah.
in our mind is about it's all historical. There we have about 60 to 70 thoughts that come through our mind every single day that are typically filtered through old expressions. It's history. It's from old experiences that we've had. And oftentimes you're not having a new conversation. So if you open yourself up and embrace new concepts and practical methods that can help you look at that situation from a different vantage point, it will allow you to move forward in a way that will help you break those blockages and overcome those challenges that you might have been stuck in a very long time, or you've never been able to break through them.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that. And also, in our last few minutes together, I'm not sure if you wanted to share a little more about your journey or another story of someone that you've helped.
Yes, absolutely. So I also had an opportunity to work with a teacher in the state of Texas. Obviously, we do everything virtually, and one of the unique factors about my program is that we do virtual sessions, but I also do. Where we do 15-minute phone conversations throughout the week. And I also send voice notes along your journey so that you are connected and you are supported throughout the journey. Because oftentimes, when we're going through this transformation and metamorphosis journey, we feel very isolated. We feel like we are
Yeah.
not understood, we're not seen, we're not heard. And so, one of the comments that she made was the fact that I gave her an ability to create a new vision for herself in a way that she hadn't been able to visually see it. So, whenever we went through these practical methods that I teach in my 12-week course, she was able to remove those barriers that she had had in her mind. She hadn't been able to visually create that expression in her mind to be able to create these experiences in real time. And so now she is living in the present moment. She is getting results that she had never experienced before. She's releasing physical weight that for over 2 years she hadn't been able to remove because we addressed some of her dietary needs. We addressed some of her lifestyle choices that she was making on a day by day basis. And with the visualization
Yeah.
practices and also the feeling of the transformation, she was starting to feel more of what she was seeing in her mind. And with that, she was making the necessary changes day to day in order to create sustainability for herself. And that transformation just keeps happening for her day by day.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you so much. And let's remind everyone how we can reach out to you. And of course, that initial discovery call, if we can chat with you for a little bit, that's always good to know.
Yes, absolutely. So you can reach me again at www.aculturedsociety.com. You can apply for my coaching session there. I offer a 30-minute personalized consultation, which is complimentary. And then we could decide if we are a good fit
Hmm.
for each other.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure seeing you. And let's also remind them aculturedsociety.com. And again, from holistic life coaching services and so much more, you're here to help. It can't hurt to just reach out and see, what, you can find out more about yourself. And maybe it's time to start your own self-discovery journey. What do you say, Rebecca?
Yes, absolutely. Now or never. We are living in a time now where we need to take
So
personal
true.
responsibility. And it is really just, it starts with you.
All right.
So I am so excited to meet you, to work with you, and to help transform your life from the inside out.
Thank you so much. All right. Sounds good. Thank you again for being here. And we'll hopefully talk again next week.
Thank you so much.
Great
Have a
seeing
wonderful
you.
day. You too.
Thank you. You too. Bye
Bye bye.
bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.